Bonjour and welcome to my channel. Today is a very special video because we've reached over 2,943 subscribers, and I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on this adventure. I've been overwhelmed by your kind messages, thoughtful questions, and genuine interest in my journey from Idaho to rural France. So today I thought I'd answer some of the most common questions I've received on my first three videos. Whether you're curious about the house, the garden, life in France, or my plans for the future, I hope to address many of your wonderings. So let's begin. And now, on to some questions. Many of you have asked about my renovation budget. The honest answer is that I'm approaching this step by step, room by room. Unlike buying property in America, where the initial investment is enormous, my €23,000 house purchase allows me to invest gradually in renovations. I'm prioritizing essential systems first: heating, plumbing for a proper bathroom, and the kitchen. I'm doing much of the work myself where possible, and sourcing materials locally and secondhand. Rural France has wonderful resources for this, from brocantes to local craftspeople willing to teach skills. One commenter mentioned renovation costs could be around €3,000 per square meter, but that would be for professional, top to bottom renovation. My approach is more gradual and practical. What's essential now? What can wait? And what can I learn to do myself? Yes, I'm actually living in the house now. As you saw in my spring menu video, I'm cooking on a hot plate while waiting to get a proper wood supply for the stove this coming winter. It's rustic living, but I've embraced it. I have electricity and running water and internet, though the bathroom situation is primitive for now. That's why it's my first major renovation priority. Someone asked about French regulations regarding attic space under 1.7 meters high. You're absolutely right that under French building codes, areas without ceiling height below 1.8 meters aren't typically counted as habitable space. However, the majority of my attic has good height, and my renovation plans respect local building requirements. I'm working with local authorities to ensure everything is properly permitted. Ah, the neighbor's dog. Several of you noticed this issue. I've actually had a pleasant conversation with my neighbor about this. In small French villages, relationships with neighbors are absolutely crucial. We've come to an understanding, and I'm planning on repairing the fence along the property line that separates us. In the meantime, I've been collecting good compost for the garden and learning which plants are naturally dog resistant. Yes, I am living in France full time. This isn't a vacation home or part time project. This is my new life, which leads to another common question. Many asked about visa requirements for Americans moving to France. I obtained a long stay visa initially, and I'm now on the path to residency. France has several visa options for retirees, including the visitor visa that doesn't require you to work. The agency I mentioned, French Connections HCB, was invaluable in navigating this process. They helped with everything from understanding the paperwork to setting up health insurance, which is required for residency. Click the link in the description below this video to learn more about their services, which I highly recommend. Someone asked if I'm exempt from property taxes based on age. The annual tax on my property is currently €487. There are indeed exemptions for seniors over 75 under certain income conditions, which I'm exploring. But honestly, even the full property tax here is a fraction of what I'd pay in America for a much smaller space. Did I visit before buying? This is a great question. No, I didn't visit this specific property before buying it. I researched extensively online, had detailed conversations with the real estate agent, requested additional photos and videos, and had a property inspection done as part of the notarial responsibility. Was it risky? Perhaps, but the price point made it a calculated risk I was willing to take. I'd rather invest 23,000 euros and discover issues than spend that same amount on just 1 year of housing in America. Several of you were fascinated by my mention of Charlemagne's garden list, and one commentator gently corrected me that Charlemagne was Frankish, not French. You're absolutely right. Charlemagne predates what we now consider France or Germany. The Capitular de Villas was his decree listing what should be grown in imperial gardens. It includes over 90 plants, herbs, vegetables, fruits, and medicinal plants. I'm using this historical guide as an inspiration for my potager. And yes, as one wise commenter mentioned, it will take at least 2 years for many perennial herbs and plants to fully establish. Gardening teaches patience. My plans are to approximate some form of the potagers seen here at the Chateau de Chamereau. My garden space will not be as grand as theirs, but by creating lasagna garden beds, also known as sheet composting, a no-dig, no-till gardening method that involves layering organic materials like cardboard, leaves, and compost to create rich, nutrient-dense soil. I should be able to create beds by measuring meters at a time. 1 meter for a bed, 1 meter for a path, 1 meter for a bed running north and south. I will begin by digging out a meter-wide path from the back door straight to the little building at the east wall of the back garden. The dig out from that path will be piled onto the right, onto a long space that I plan to use for small fruits, red, black, and white currants, raspberries, blueberries, strawberries, elderberries. Already 3 bushes are established, and gooseberries. Frankly, any berry I can stick in there will be welcome. A few of you asked about connecting with other Americans or expats in France. Yes, there are several online communities for foreigners in France, including specific ones for Americans. I've connected with some wonderful people, both online and locally. What's been most heartwarming is the welcome from my French neighbors. Rural communities here have their own pace and way of doing things, but if you approach them with respect and a willingness to learn the language and customs, people are incredibly helpful. Someone asked for a walking tour of the village. That's a wonderful idea for a future video. Clugnet is small, but has a fascinating history. There's a beautiful church, a small tobacco, think 7-Eleven or Circle K store, a pan artisanal or bread store, and a weekly market on Wednesdays in season. I'll definitely plan to show you around the village in spring when everything is looking at its best. These messages remind me that this journey resonates with many of you who have similar dreams. Whether it's moving abroad, starting a new chapter in life, or simply creating a more intentional, historically connected lifestyle. I particularly appreciate those of you who shared your own renovation experiences in France, both the encouragements and the warnings about costs and challenges. This community wisdom is invaluable. I received many comments and questions about the herb garden and the vegetable garden. I too watch those chateau videos, but it's mainly to see how they may have solved problems like I face here in my house. I know how they feel. The attic is a gem waiting to be polished. Before I close, I want to acknowledge the skeptics too. Those who questioned whether this was a wise investment or noted the challenges ahead. Skepticism is healthy. This journey isn't always romantic or easy. There are cold mornings, renovation frustrations, language barriers, and bureaucratic puzzles. But at 23,000 euros, even if everything goes terribly wrong, I've spent less than 1 year of housing costs would have been in America. And the potential rewards? A debt free home, a garden that nourishes body and soul, a connection to centuries of history, and a community that still values traditional knowledge. These are priceless. In my next video on Sunday, I'll be face to face with you, my visitors, sharing a cup of herb tea, tisanes in French, at my table. Thank you again now for 2,943 subscribers. Whether you're here for the renovation journey, the historical cooking, the gardening inspiration, or simply to see if this American, Le Petit Ville d'Homme, can make it in rural France, I'm grateful you're along here for the adventure. Please like, subscribe, and share if you know someone who might enjoy this channel. And don't forget to request your free hearth cooking guide through the link in the description. A bientôt. See you soon.